you've been thinking about enjoying lasagna and hating Mondays. Well, that job's already taken, I'm sorry to tell you. Hey guys, welcome back to TutsByKai. I'm Kai, and today we're back. Dude, I can never say welcome back to TutsByKai. I'm Kai, and today we're back once again taking a look at how to do this. I can never say it anymore. I just said it, but you know, it is what it is. Today we're making a cool name animation thing because a lot of people have been asking for this kind of stuff again. I used to do this kind of stuff a while ago, and I haven't done one in a long time. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to drag a box over top of our default cube and over top of our lamp here, and hit delete on my keyboard. There we go. So after that's done, let's go ahead and we'll grab our camera and hit Alt G and Alt R to clear location and rotation. Then hit RX 90 on my numpad, and then left click to confirm that, and hit GY to move that thing back like that. Boom, look at that. Oh my lord. Hit 0 to go into my camera's view, and we can hit Shift A and we'll search for a text object. Now it looks like it's not there, but that's just because it's laying flat, like it's like had a really long day at work. So let's go ahead and hit RX 90. Left click to confirm that, hit 0 to go back in my camera's view, and now you can see we have the text facing the camera, which is nice. Go down to the text tab, and then we can scroll on down here to the alignment. Sorry, I'm kind of trying to get through this little bit here because this is the bit that's always the same, you know what I mean? It's always the same. You got to fix the text up and whatnot. So I'm going to change the horizontal alignment from the left to the center, and then I'm going to make the Y offset maybe go down by like, you know, -0.2 or something like that. Now if we zoom in here, you can see that the text is like super flat. The way we can fix that is by going ahead and going to geometry, opening that up, and then changing the extrude value and putting that bad boy up. Now you don't want to put it up so far so it's looking like that those infomercials from 1997 where it's like, are you in need of a lawyer? And it just like starts zooming into your face. Don't do that. So we'll just put it up a little bit, maybe something like maybe 0.1, something like that. But I also want to go ahead and I want to change the font here. So let's go ahead and scroll on down to the little font tab here, and then with this little folder icon to open up our folder. And once we have that bad boy open, we can go ahead and choose a font. Now I don't have all my fonts in this folder, but I'm gonna go ahead and just choose Karasuma Gothic Black. Nice simple font there. I'm gonna hit Tab to go ahead and edit what our text says, and I'm just gonna go ahead and just get rid of these last three and then just re-put them back in just in all capitals. Just keep it super nice and simple so everyone can follow along here. Now obviously you'd want to change this to your name. So let's say your name is John and you're trying to make a YouTube channel and you want it to be called John. You just do like this. There you go. John. Bum bum. What a great YouTube channel. I hope you have 1 million subscribers, John, if you're watching. Anyway, let's go ahead, and once we have that done, I actually want to go ahead and let's go ahead and go back to our camera's view, and you can see it's a little small, so we hit S to scale that bad boy up. But you can see that the origin is not really in the middle anymore. So let's go ahead and go back to the Y offset and kind of play around with this. I think maybe 1.4, maybe 1.3. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just needs to be a little bit better. We can go ahead and we can go ahead and move it around like that too. Let's do 1.3. No, 1.32. It's gonna freak me out. Okay, there we go. 1.32 is fine for this text. It's gonna be different depending on what your font is. But for this, you can see that that's almost basically in the center. It doesn't have to be perfect, of course, but yeah, it's looking good. So we'll do that. We'll leave it like that. But I do want to make sure that all of our text pieces are individual objects. So what that means is we're gonna have to separate all of these. Now, make sure you have everything set, so you have to do this over and over again. I think I want to add a little bit of bevel to this as well. Maybe turn the extrude down just slightly as well. So let's go ahead and add a little bit of bevel, make it look make it look kind of bubbly, you know. Instead of being like these sharp edges, we can go ahead and change the bevel depth up a little bit, right? Maybe to 0.005, and then maybe turn the resolution up a little bit, maybe to 16 resolution. I think I want a little bit more than that though. What if I think we can get away with doing 0.005, and then maybe that's fine, I guess. I think we could just do like 12 for the resolution. Yeah, I think we can get away with that. That's fine. That's nice. I like the little bit of edge that we have on there. It's nothing too crazy. It's nothing too wild. If you look at the edge here, it looks pretty nice there. Alright, so once that's done, we can go ahead and kind of fix up the rest of the text here. Hit Tab to go back into edit mode. I'm going to get rid of all these letters except for the one that we're going to use. Because like I said, I want to be able to use just one at a time so we can rotate them all in different directions. So once that's done, let's go ahead And we could do a couple other things to this. We could like duplicate it, make something cool on the edges, do this and do that, do whatever else. But I think I'm going to actually just leave it super simple for today's video. I think we'll just leave it as just this individual piece right here. Now I do want to... No, I'm gonna do the special edges. Let's do the special edges real quick. So, I used to do these really cool edges on all of the pieces of text here, but we'll do a little bit different today. So let's go ahead and duplicate this by hitting Shift D, and then instead of moving it or doing anything, leave it in the same place, and we'll change the offset value up by a little bit. Not by anything crazy like 0.01, but just maybe 0.0001. Maybe we'll do 0.00. 5 maybe, and then we'll change the extrude value down a little bit, so you can see what this does. It creates a nice little effect. This looks like the Teen Titans tower, not gonna lie, but let's go ahead and maybe put the offset down a little bit. We'll do, needs to be a little smaller. Yeah, something like that. Okay, so let's do 0.0004. So 0.0004, which is super thin, but that's what we need to make this thing look like it's a little less in the way. We just, what the point is we just really want that little edge, just the edge on there. We don't want anything else, but we also need to get rid of the front and the back so we can see the front face. So we'll add just a little bit. We'll pull it back just a little bit until it doesn't start glitching like that. There we go. So I think this is a good look here. So we have, what is that, 0.049 for the extrude, and the offset is 0.0004. So there we go. Looks really nice. And as you can see, if we go ahead and add a material to the front-facing one here, let's go ahead and just hit this drop down in the material section. Hit that drop down. Select material. You can go to the material viewport so we can see the colors up here. And then on the material on the edge, on the side of the T, let's hit new. And then we'll call this like blue or something. And then we'll just change this base color to a nice blue color. There we go. Gorgeous. Lovely. Very nice. So there we go. Now, I want to make the white super rough so it doesn't have any shine to it, and then we'll make the blue maybe a little shinier. There we go, something like that. Yeah, looks kind of nice. I like it. Looks very bubbly, very nice. But yeah, so there we go. So that's what I want to do for that. Make sure there's a white on for the T, for the front of the T is always solid white as well, not gray or anything like that, just solid white. There we go. So now with that done, there's a couple different things we can do to like move both of these together instead of having to select both of them, because if you only select one, it's only going to move one at a time, obviously. So if we select both of these, hit Control P and hit Parent, obviously, you know, if we grab the blue color, then it'll move the white one as well. But there's another way we can do this. We can do this in a little bit easier of a way. Let's unparent these by hitting Control P. Alt P and then clear parent. There we go. So now we can move them individually. There we go. All right. So I want to add an empty. So let's go ahead and add an empty. Hit Shift A and we'll search for a plane axis. You could search for a sphere as well, and I think I'll do that actually. Let's do a sphere. A sphere. We never do that. A spear. What are we going hunting? What's happening here? A sphere. There we go. Yo, sphere is low-key a weird word. Sphere. I said it too many times. All right. We'll hit S to scale this bad boy down. And then we'll go ahead and select both of the pieces of text up here by holding down Shift, grabbing both of those, and then holding down Shift and grabbing our empty last. The empty has to be selected last or else this won't work. Make sure you select both of the text objects and then the empty last. Hit Control P and then set parent to object, and now when we grab the empty and rotate it, you can see that it rotates the text with it. So it looks really nice. It's super simple to use. We basically just made a super rough and simple rig controller just for the singular T, which is very cool. So let's go ahead and grab this and duplicate it out 3 more times. Hit so drag a box over top of everything. Hit Shift D to duplicate. Right click to cancel that movement, and then just go ahead and hit GX to move it on the X-axis. And then we'll do that for as many times as we need to just to have all the letters in our word, which is text. So it's only 3 times. So we'll go ahead and hit select one of the pieces of text. Hit Tab to go into edit mode here, and then just backspace out the letter we don't want. Make sure we do both of the layers, of course, and then just replace them with the letter that we do want, which is the rest of the letters for our word. And we can leave that T as the T, obviously. Now I've hit 1 on my numpad. You can see I want to go into front-facing view and kind of move these a little bit to position them a little closer, make them look a little tighter, nicer. You know what I mean? So we'll do that. And then once that's done, we'll grab everything, drag a box over top of everything. And then hit 1 on our numpad to go into the front-facing view again. hit GX to move everything into the middle, which is about right there, and then we're good to go. So now, when we rotate all these, you can see that all of them rotate on their own, which is super cool. So I really like the way this looks, and we can get a really cool effect with this. As you can see, we can just kind of have all the letters be going different directions, and it looks really nice. So if we go ahead and render this, it won't look like anything because we have no light. So let's go ahead and fix it real quick. Actually, I'm an idiot. Hit Shift A and we'll search for a light, and then we'll just make it an area light, just so we can see what it looks like right now. I'm not keeping this obviously, but let's go ahead and just move it up, just so I can show you what it looks like. There we go. So we're gonna get something that looks like this, similar to something like this now. There we go. So that's that. There we go. So after we're done with all of that, there's a little bit of like weird grainy stuff over here, and I believe that's because we have. I might be glitching through it. Is that glitching through the white? I don't think that it is. I think it's fine. I think it's the roughness that was doing that. Yeah. That was the roughness. Okay. So we have that. That's good. We do need to turn up the sampling though for that, because that might look a little strange. Also, before I forget, I want to turn on ray tracing. So turn ray tracing on right here, and as you can see, that makes the text pop like so much more. Look at the reflections and everything. The ray tracing really makes that pop out, especially in these edges where they're kind of almost touching. It has a lot of depth in there now, whereas without the ray tracing, it looks kind of lackluster, and that looks so much better. So we'll do that, make sure that's turned on, and now I do want to go ahead and we'll get rid of this lamp just so I can show you, and we'll add in one slower so I can actually show you what's going on. Hit Shift A, search for a light, an area lights, and then hit GZ to move that bad boy up. I use area lamps a lot because they look really nice. So if we hit S, X, and then just scale it on the X axis, we can kind of get all the letters in there. They look super soft and really, really, like, you know, just professional and very nice. So I use these a lot. So hit RX to RX to rotate that, like, so it's, you know, kind of facing the text a little bit more. Then hit GY to move it back, so it's like, you know, actually touching the text. And then we can turn the power up, maybe to like 40, maybe 50, something like that, something around there. Yeah, and there we go. So that looks nice. Now I do want to duplicate this. We'll duplicate that. Hit GY to move it back behind the text. Hit RX to rotate it on the X axis so we can face it upwards like that, and then hit GZ to move it down so that the text has like a backlight. And we'll change this color from white to like maybe like a blue, or maybe we'll do like even a different color from the blue. Maybe we'll do like a pinkish color or a red color or something like that. Maybe we'll do purple. Purple looks nice. It looks like fuchsia over here, but on the text it reads purple. So we'll do something like that. That makes it stand out very much. Maybe we'll turn the power up a little bit to maybe 100, maybe 200. Nah, that's too much. No, just leave it on 50. I think 50 looks nice. There we go. So that looks really nice. We can turn the size up to make it a little softer, which is what I think I want to do as well, because it was a little too harsh before. So we'll turn the size up, make it a little less harsh. Maybe turn the size down on the main text here, and we'll make it a little longer. Yeah, something like that. I guess it looks kind of nice. Perfect. Okay, maybe we'll move it a little closer as well, just slightly. There we go. So now everything looks good, but I do want to go ahead and fix up these letters and actually animate these bad boys. So let's go ahead and we can grab all of these bad boys right here. Boom, boom, boom. I do want to get rid of the rotation we put on them, so hit Alt R to clear the rotation on these guys, so we can make our own little, you know, nice little things going on here. Now, I think for the animation I want to do, I'm going to open up the animation the timeline down here, and change our start frame to 0, just because I like doing that. I don't know. It's a thing that I do. I don't know why I like doing that, but I just like doing it. Let's go ahead, and I think I want all of these letters to come out of the T. So let's go ahead, and I'll select all of these rigs that we created here, and I'll put it on like maybe frame 100, and we'll hit I to insert a keyframe here, and then I'll go to the first frame here, and I'll move the T into the first T into the center, and then I'll grab all the other letters, and then I'll hit S to scale them down, and then I'll put them inside of the T. There we go, something like that, just up at the top. Now I want to make it so that when the T rotates, these letters rotate as well. So I'll go ahead, and with all those three still selected, I'll hold down Shift and select this rig, and I'll hit Control. No, I won't. I'll unselect that. I'll select the letter T itself, and I'll hit Control P to set parent, and then we'll move it like that. So that now when the So now when the rig moves, it moves with it, but it's not actually attached to the parent of the rig itself, so it doesn't mess up the parent that we have going on with the T itself. So there we go. Now I want to make it so that at the beginning, oh, I didn't enter the keyframe. I'm an idiot. Okay, don't do what I just did. That's the perfect lesson right now. Absolute perfect lesson. Before you do anything, before you move, before you do anything whatsoever, insert a keyframe here at the front, or else the text will pop out of the T like it just did, and you'll have to redo everything. So hit I, and then now you can see that it actually will stay inside of the T. The same thing with the T we're using as well. Make sure that it insert a keyframe on that. So now everything is staying where it belongs. So now when I play this, yeah, okay, so now when I play it, does this weird animation where the T moves over and these letters kind of move over in a strange way as well, and they're not really lined up anymore, so we can go and fix that by just grabbing these and moving them back over, something like that, and then insert a keyframe. I'm going to turn on automatic keyframe right here, hitting this little button, so I don't have to insert a keyframe every single time I do anything. So there we go, nice. Now, the reason why I'm doing this is because I want to make it so that our T rotates first and then kind of explodes and puts the other letters out onto the screen. So the first thing I want to do is I want to go ahead and change our frame rate in the second tab here to 60 frames because it's looking a little slow and choppy. So that looks a lot better already. Now obviously it looks like dookie, so let's go ahead and fix this animation. I'm going to duplicate this first frame we have on 0, hit Shift D and move that to the 90th frame. So yeah, there we go. Actually, wait, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to grab the letters inside. Sorry. I'm going to grab these letters inside here and make it so that their first keyframe is on 90. That's what I meant to do, not the T itself. There we go. Okay, so I also will do that with the T. I'll put the T so it stays in the same location, and then it just explodes with the letters like that. There we go. Now, obviously, it doesn't look the best still, so let's go ahead and make a little cool animation on the T, which I'll do by going ahead and making it on the 10th frame. We'll hit I to put a scale keyframe there, and then on the 0 frame, I'll rotate it by double tapping the R button. Double tap R, and then just hit S to scale it in, and then hit 0 on your numpad to scale it to 0. Now when we play it, it should do like that. It kind of like rotates in. Boom. Looks very nice. Now, on the 30th frame, I kind of add a little bit of rotation. So let's go ahead and rotate it like that. So it kind of like carries the momentum. I want to maybe rotate it down a little bit. Yeah, there we go. Okay. And then on the 50th frame, we'll make it go like kind of around like that. Yeah, and then you see it's kind of fighting to flip back around here, which is nice because I want to do a big flip when it goes back to the text to explode, but we don't want to do it that quickly. So on frame 70, I will once again add another keyframe. There we go, and okay, perfect. So I like that. I think I needed to be a little bit more aggressive right there on the first. Yeah, okay, that's nice. And then on the 30th frame, we'll have it rotate even more. Yeah, I want to flip around, you know what I mean? I want to go woo. Yeah, even more low key like that. Woo. Yeah, that's perfect. And then on this frame, we'll rotate it, maybe rotate like that. This is like a process, obviously. You know, just getting it to be and look exactly the way you want it to look. But once you get it down, it shouldn't be too crazy difficult to try and get it to look the way you want. Okay, I don't like how it does that little motion at the end there. I'm trying to figure out how I want to get that to rotate. Okay, yeah, I like that. And then when it flips back around, which I don't want to do just yet, so we'll duplicate the frame on the 70th frame, and then we'll kind of just move that slightly. And then it'll flip back around. And actually, you know, I think when we parented the other letters earlier, I think we need to actually fix that, because now when I rotate the T, obviously it's going to rotate with it, which wasn't going to be a problem, but because I want to rotate the T individually now, I think we're going to have to go ahead and redo a little bit of this. So let's go ahead and select only the rigs of the other 3 letters, so the E, T, E, X, and the second T, and it's Alt P to clear and keep their transformation of that parent. So now we can move the T on its own. But now that means that the letters are kind of just like on their own, just hanging out, which is fine. So let's go ahead and grab all of those. We can go and just grab all those rigs like that. There we go. And what I want to do is we can actually just scale them to 0. Let's go ahead and move them down a little bit, and then hit S0 on the 90th keyframe, and then just get rid of the on the 0 frame. So now when they explode, they kind of just burst out like that. They're way too off to the left, obviously, but we can fix that on the 100th frame, just moving on over again. There we go. So now it looks basically the same, and we look perfectly fine. So there we go. That looks nice. Now, with the rest of the letters here, what I want to do is I want to actually not hand animate this, because I only wanted to hand animate the T's, because I wanted to do the exact motion I wanted it to kind of do here. And I think I want to. Should we get rid of that? We probably should actually. Wait, I've gotten rid of one of the keyframes of the T, and it looks a lot smoother. I like the way it looks. Let's do that. Yeah. Okay. I'm also going to move this keyframe right up against the 90th so that when it rotates, you can't barely notice it. Because I don't want it to pop like that either. Let's go ahead and just clear the rotation on. So Alt-R, clear the rotation, and then now it looks like that. And we can kind of maybe mimic that angle a little bit. Maybe something like this. There we go. Yeah, okay. So now when it rotates, it kind of just, oh yeah, that's perfect. There we go. Lovely. All right, very, very nice. Now when we are to do the rest of the animation, let's go ahead and split our window into 2 by putting my cursor top left and splitting that in half. There we go. Hit this little button to change this to the graph editor, and then move that out the way. We can select all of these rigs here, right? And then on the X, Y, and Z location and rotation and scale, we can open this little tab up here, and then go to modifiers, hit add modifier, and choose noise. Now when we play this, you can see that it'll kind of move on its own. Now that's obviously way too much. Let's go ahead and fix that by changing the scale. We can put the scale up to maybe 10, change the strength down to like 0.1, and then, you know, maybe do some more stuff. We can put the scale up to maybe 50, actually, to be honest with you. And then maybe the scale can go to 3. Yeah, that's fine. We can leave it like that. Now we can just hit this little copy button here, and then go to all the other ones and paste them. And then we have to change the offset because they don't line up like perfectly, you know, because that'll look a little strange. So we're just gonna hit paste on all those, and then just change the offset to a random value. Same thing with the rotation. I'm gonna go ahead and just change the offset, and then just go ahead and move on to the next one at a random place. So there we go. Looks very nice. Now when we do this with the rest of the letters, and then I shall be right back, ladies and gentlemen. Now a little tip for you: if you want to do all of the copy and pasting at the same exact time, you can go ahead and select all the things that you want to paste, and go ahead and, before you open this up and select an individual X or Y location, just leave all these kind of like this, so they're not like downsized yet. Or opened up yet, and we'll just hit paste on that. And then when you look at all of the X, Y, and Z's, they're all copy and pasted. And then at that point, all you need to do is just change the offset. So just slide that to the left, slide that one way to the left. You know, move this one a little bit to the right, this one a lot to the right, this one left, and so on and so forth. Now I'm not doing the scale, but you definitely could if you wanted to. I might do the scale a little bit, but that value might have to be a slightly different value, so it doesn't look too like crazy squishy like it's a cartoon, you know what I mean? So to fix that, let's go ahead and go to back to the noise modifier here, and then we hit this little drop down right here on the X, Y, and Z scale. Hit restrict frame range, and then we can go ahead and choose a start and end frame. I'm gonna go ahead and put this start frame to 90, and then put the end frame to 300, which is the end of our scene there, as you can see. And now you can see it's completely flat until it hits frame 90. But the problem with this is it needs to blend a little bit. So let's go ahead and just change this to maybe 5 and 5 on both of these to blend in and out, so it doesn't like just randomly just start popping in, you know. So it has a little bit of a nice little grace period there, which looks really nice. So let's go ahead. And now what we need to do is we do need to copy and paste all these values. Now this is probably something we should have done when we copied the noise, like copy and pasted the whole noise thing. But it is super quick just to go ahead and just hit 90, 300, you know what I mean? So I'm just going to go ahead and do that by hand on all these. But you probably should go ahead and copy that. I do apologize for not saying that earlier. But here's the thing, is that when you type things, you know, you start to remember them. And this is something you're definitely going to need to remember. So go ahead and, you know, enjoy life. You know what I mean? And just enjoy life. And really, what is... Okay, I'll be right back. All right, ladies and gentlemen, once we have this completely done... There we go. We can now go ahead and take a look at this. And as you can see, if we zoom in here, the text is no longer appearing until it's supposed to come in at frame 90. And then boom, it zooms in and we're looking great. Absolutely lovely. There we go. Now, I do think this is a little bit too much. So I'm going to go ahead and change it from 1 to 0.5 on all of these, because that is, you know, we love the stretch here. We do. Listen, but that's a little bit too much squish. You know what I mean? We love, you know what? It's a little bit, you know, maybe even 0.5. Maybe we'll do like a little 0.2 action on that. You know, we'll just do a little 0.2 action. That's fine. No big deal. So I'll go ahead and edit that. You know, a lot of like blendering or just 3D work in general is just trial and error and seeing what you like. So if you do want to do some different values, do not be afraid to like fix them up. I know a lot of people are like, oh, but who cares, man? Listen, if you're trying to make some nice looking stuff, you know, make it. Come on, man, you got it. Don't worry. But I just put these down at 0.2, and I shall be ready to get active on the rest of this. Now, for the rest of this, I don't want to do too much of anything crazy. We're just going to do something very, very simple and very, very nice. Oh, that looks way better, way less comical, like, and not a good kind of comical, just like way too comical. All right, so with that done, we need to go ahead and make a little bit of a way for them to leave, which is what we're going to do now. So let's go ahead, and I'm going to go ahead and just make them all drop, which is going to be very, very nice. So let's go ahead and hold down Shift, select all of these 4, and then we'll go ahead and move them all downward. So hit I on your keyboard, and then maybe go to like frame 190, hit I, and then go to the last frame, and then move them all the way down like that. Now on this frame, on 190, I'll move it up a little bit because I want them to go up a little bit before they go down, and then they'll just drop. There we go. So lovely. Now I want them all to do this at a different time though. So let's go ahead and from the back to the front, we'll go ahead and take the X, move it up a little bit by selecting all these keyframes, and then hitting G on our keyboard to move it up by 5 frames. And then same thing with this one, move it up again, and then same thing with this one, move it up again. I believe that's the right keyframe, is it? Yeah, okay. So now it should look like this. It should all kind of drop it at different times. But the problem is it's not going up enough for my taste, I feel like. So let's go ahead and move it up a little bit. Yeah, there we go. Now it's moving up a little bit more. Something like that. And then with this one, move it up a lot as well. And then this one, same thing. And then this one, same thing again. There we go. Okay. So now, oh, that's perfect. Beautiful. Now, just so we can get a better look at this, we'll go ahead and select our camera. And then go to viewport display and change passer partout all the way up so it's solid black so we can't see any weird crazy stuff. There we go. Now when this text explodes, I want it to like look a little bit more dynamic. So instead of just stopping here, we'll put a keyframe on maybe frame 130. We'll select all of these and then we'll hit I. Then we'll go to the first frame where they all explode, which is 100, and we'll kind of move them all out in like in a direction. You know, we'll just hit G and move them all out a little bit, so it kind of like explodes a little bit more and then comes back. Yeah. And then I'll select all of them again. Hold on Shift, grab all of them. Maybe we'll put a keyframe on 170, hit I, and then on 130, I kind of want to squish them all together a little bit, so it looks a little bit more like they came back together and then they're going back apart. Yeah, there we go. Beautiful, beautiful. Now, I don't like how they all come back together at the same time, so I'm going to move some of these keyframes a little further, or further in or further out like that. There we go. It looks a lot more dynamic now. So a lot of the things is, you don't want to have all the keyframes on the same exact, spot, because it'll start looking a little robotic. So we can go ahead and just move these keyframes around, get them to look a little bit more, you know, dynamic and fluid, so they don't all look the same kind of way. And the same thing with these that are kind of going out as well. Maybe I want some of these to come down faster, to come down a little slower, maybe a little, you know, whatever else. So we'll go ahead and do that by going ahead and moving these keyframes around just a little bit, just so it has a little bit of variation. Oh, the X kind of goes down late after the T. This looks like, that's kind of cool. I like that. You know what we can do? Idea. What if, right? And hear me out here. What if we made it spin? So we'll go ahead on this frame. We'll hit I just to be sure. And then on this frame, we will hit RZ, and then we'll rotate this bad boy completely around 360 like that, and then it should spin when it goes down. There we go. So that was cool. Yeah, you can barely tell actually because it's kind of fast, but maybe we make it a little slower. Yeah, there we go. There we go. That looks nice. That looks really cool. I like that a lot actually. Maybe I move the T up a little bit so the X still goes down last. Like that. Yeah, there we go. Okay, now let's take a look at that. And then that goes down, and then boom. Oh, I love that. That's very cool. Okay, maybe we can make the X go down a little bit faster, though. Yeah. There we go. I think that's perfect. Lovely. Okay. So with the materials on, you can see the nice white and the nice blue. There we go. It looks great. Comes out, kind of bounces around a little bit, and it spins around. Now we have this beautiful animated text looking thing here. Let's go ahead and take a look at that rendered. Ooh, very nice. Now I'm not sure. So let's go ahead and take a look at this. I'm not sure if you have this. I don't think that's it glitching. Yeah, that's not glitching at all. Okay, I was gonna say if the second layer is a little too close to the white, it'll start glitching. But it's not that. That's just that's the actual light here. So let's go ahead. Yeah, if I turn the roughness up, it doesn't really have that issue there. It has this weird like little glare bit that's going on right here. So I think I'm gonna actually turn the roughness up a little bit so that it gets rid of a little bit of that. Maybe we can turn the metallic up a little bit. Yeah. I think I like that way. It looks a little better anyway. Just a little bit of metallic in there. Nothing too crazy. But yeah, there we go. So if we take a look at the render, it looks like that, which is very, very nice. And then let's take a look at all the letters here. Rendered viewport. It's a little dark. Maybe we can go ahead and light this from the bottom as well. Let's go ahead and maybe we'll grab this and turn the brightness of the top one up as well a little bit. Duplicate this, GZ, rotate it a little bit. Oh, we can turn keyframes off. Turn automatic keyframes off and get rid of that keyframe so it doesn't move around when we're trying to light this thing. All right, there we go. And then maybe we'll do like a little bit closer, a little less bright, and then we'll do like a color. We'll make this like a slightly yellow color, maybe slightly blue. Yeah, maybe slightly blue. There we go. And then I think it looks a lot better. Yeah, okay. Now you play that, it looks like that. Comes out, text pops out, boom. I think I want to move the angle of our camera so we see a little bit more of the blue in like areas like this because the white is too prominent, I feel like. So let's go ahead, select our camera, hit RX, rotate it upwards like that, and then move it down a little bit and do the same thing again until I kind of like the angle a little bit better. There we go. I'm liking that. Okay. So that comes out like that. Maybe it's a little too angled. Yeah. Okay. And then when the text goes down, it goes down like that. Beautiful. Okay. I like that quite a bit. That looks great. Okay, so the last thing we need to do is make sure this is transparent because obviously you want to overlay this on whatever you're doing. So let's go ahead and go to the main tab, go to film, and then hit transparent. Make sure that's turned on. There we go. Lovely. Okay, so now let's take a look one more time, and then we should be good to go. There we go. T comes out, boom, text explodes, the rest of the letters are popping in, and then they all kind of go down. Now, like I said, if you want to change these letters around, you literally actually can, because we didn't change them into from a text object to a mesh. I was about to say to a machete. What in the world? Anyway, you can actually change these. So like I said, if you really did want this to say John, you could make it say John. You know what I mean? You could actually do that. So yeah, it's super customizable. It's really, really cool. Yeah, I love doing stuff like this. This is very, very fun. Very, very fun. Very, very cool and very super easy to do as well. So, ladies and gentlemen, I think that's going to be it for today's tutorial. I will see you guys in the next one. Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you in the next one. But until then, bye-bye.